Welcome to My Spoonie Sisters, featuring stories from special guests dedicated to empowering those with chronic illness. Our goal? To connect people and provide the support and tools they need to live a better life. For those with chronic illness, our energy levels just fade faster. We must be more purposeful with the spoons allotted to us. So grab your coffee or tea, sister, and tune in as My Spoonie Sisters share stories of living with chronic illness. Hi, my Spoonie Sisters. I'm your host, Gracefully Jen, and I'm here with the one, the only, hi, Linnea.
Hi, guys.
So we're here because, well, we love to chat. We really, really love to chat.
Yes, we do.
But we've had a few different topics on our brains that we would like to share with our community. So where do we even begin with what we were talking about last week?
Depression?
Yeah.
That our big topic?
Yeah. Depression with an autoimmune disease.
Yeah.
I mean, depression's hard enough as it is, right?
Yes. I think I would take depression if I could get rid of the autoimmune disease. I don't like them together.
Oh, absolutely. 100% agree.
No. They don't get along.
Yeah. So do you feel comfortable sharing a little bit of your backstory?
Sure. I even told my husband this. I'm at a point where I feel like my story needs to be heard because I feel like others probably have been there or are there. So if I can save one person from doing anything to themselves, then it'll be worth it, me sharing that with you today.
So when do you feel like depression first crept into your life?
I would say it really started after a death of a parent. In my case, I kind of had some, but I think that's normal, having a little bit of depression after losing a parent, or somebody close to you. Mine really got bad after I got diagnosed and I started going downhill. It just crept in, but I was at a point where I couldn't talk about it. I didn't want to admit that was what was happening. And then I don't know how much. I'm trying to get my thoughts. Sorry.
That's okay. Do you want me to talk for a second, let you gather your thoughts?
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess what I can say is I've dealt with it as well. And a lot of times, A, we don't want to admit we're suffering with depression, and B, we don't want to admit that we have an autoimmune disease.
Exactly.
And so then you get it smashed together, and it's like, it's almost this dirty little secret that we just want to put on our big smile, pretend that we're okay, and let the world see our highlight reel.
I would 100% agree with that. I think when I really sunk, like I had to leave my job, because of my health. My doctors were like, you can't keep doing this. You're killing yourself. So I left my job, and then my disease got worse. Looking back, I can see where the depression was. Like I can tell you, like I can point, I don't have dates, but I could point, okay, this is where it really was bad. And then I would say 18, 19, I could tell it was creeping back in, but it was manageable. I could manage it without talking about it. Like I felt like I could. We weren't managing it. I was not managing it, but I thought I was. Then 2020 hit, and it was before everything with the world was happening. It was like in December, January. I could tell myself I was going downhill fast. And then those invasive thoughts creep in. And when I say invasive thoughts, for me, it was the thought of unaliving myself. And that's the first time I really said that out loud. Like, I have said I've gotten close, but that's what I was thinking. That's what my brain was telling me. I was no good. I was a burden to my family. I was never going to get better, which were all lies. They were all lies. It's just your brain telling you that. And so I think with the benefit of being in a pandemic, we were fortunate enough. We had an RV, and my husband just took me to the mountains. We got out of the house. Went to the mountains. We were up there 2-3 months. I can't even remember anymore. And it hit peak. It was bad. And I had a very couple bad days where and I finally, by him doing that, I was finally able to voice it. I started voicing it to him. And so that's where, like, I look back and I feel so guilty that I thought about doing that to my family. And I feel guilty still to this day that I put them through that. It was to the point when we got home, my husband locked the guns up. That's how bad it was. I never want anybody to go through that. I've had friends that have unlived themselves, and I know how I felt afterwards. But in the moment, when you're in that deep depression and you're thinking those thoughts, you honestly have blinders up and can't think beyond yourself. You are just struggling to live. You can't even think about what other people are feeling or how they'll feel about it, because you are just hurting so bad on the inside. I wasn't only hurting on the inside. I was in pain. My RA was out of control. This is when my psoriatic arthritis and the psoriasis was starting to ramp up. And we didn't know what was happening to me at that time. I didn't know it was caused by my medication. I was still taking that medication. So imagine your body is trying to fight off a new disease, and you're fighting depression. It was like the world was collapsing in on me. And that was the worst feeling. And it took me a long time, and I slowly started coming out of it. I met other people like me. I met you once I was diagnosed, we met, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I finally don't feel alone. This isn't just my body being stupid. This is a problem with our medication.
Most definitely. And I have a question for you.
Okay.
And I feel like I know what you're going to say, but I want people to hear this. What is your reaction? And I bet it's the same as mine, when people say that committing suicide is selfish. Calling all Spoonies. As a host of a chronic illness podcast, nothing lights up my day more than hearing from you, our incredible listeners. Whether it's a topic close to your heart that you want us to uncover, or you are keen to show your own journey as a guest on our show, your voice matters. Living with chronic illness can often feel isolating, but through the power of podcasting, we can come together as a community to uplift, educate, and inspire one another. Your stories, insights, and questions drive the conversations we have and the topics we explore. So if there's something on your mind, a story that you are just itching to share, or a guest you'd love to hear from, don't hesitate to reach out. Your voice is not only welcomed here, but celebrated. Let's continue to amplify the voices of those living with chronic illnesses and create a space where everyone feels heard, supported, and empowered. Together, we are stronger.
It's not selfish. It is in one aspect. It's very selfish what you're doing to your family. But when you're in that moment, you don't feel like it's selfish. That's where I say it's not selfish, because in the moment, you can't it doesn't feel selfish to you. You actually feel like it's a benefit to people.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if you weren't here, they wouldn't have to deal with my BS. They wouldn't have to deal with all of my doctor's appointments and all the medications and the stress that I put on my husband financially because of my medication, all of that. Like, to me, it was a gift because now they don't have to worry about that. Now, I do say when I started coming out of it, oh yeah, it that was selfish of me to think that, but in the moment I didn't think it was. I hope that's what you were kind of thinking. Like,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And see, okay, so a little bit of my backstory is I have two uncles, my dad's brothers, that have committed suicide. The first one was in 2012, and I will never forget it because my husband and I were on a work trip, and his work took all of the employees and their wives in a big giant rented bus,
oh, very cool.
and it had snacks and everything you could think of to drink and all the things. And we went from the Tri-Cities to Seattle to go to a football game. And I remember being so excited, and I was sending pictures to my dad because I knew my dad would love it. It was the San Francisco 49ers playing against the Seahawks. And on the way home, it's November, it's snowy, we have to go over a pass, and I get these texts from my dad. Are you busy? Are you sitting down? I'd like to talk. Oh, crap. And so here I am on this scary pass talking to my dad on the phone, and he's crying. He just lost his best friend. It was his stepbrother, and they were close in age, and they were best friends their whole lives. And he was so angry, and he just kept talking about how selfish he was. And I think the person in the midst of it doesn't see the selfish thoughts or any of that. But the people left behind, they see it, they feel it. That's where the selfish is. And the level of pain that I could hear in my dad's voice, I will never forget. And then I think it was 2015 or 16, he calls me and he's angry. He's so angry. And he's like, Jen, your stupid Uncle Rance went and offed himself today. Are you freaking kidding me? First it's Uncle Rodney, now it's Uncle Rance. Great. And he just went off. And he's like, how dare he do this to the family? And it's so selfish. And yeah, I mean, that's how the family feels because they're not inside the person and their tweaked brain that's not quite working right in that moment. And he, and I totally agree with how he was feeling because that's how it felt. Everyone in the family, including this uncle, knew what it felt like to lose the other one. So to go and do that all over to the family, and girl, I come from a big family on my dad's side. They're Mormon. These
Yeah.
people know how to have babies. So it's a huge family all in uproar going, are you freaking kidding me? This is happening again. I just, yeah. And so I'm torn. Like, I feel like I could see
Yeah.
both sides. I've never gone as far as wanting to commit suicide. I've always just, in my deep moments of depression, just wished I wasn't here.
Yeah.
I'm too big of a chicken. I could never. But I could wish till the sun comes up
Yeah.
that I wasn't here.
Yeah. I'm
So,
glad I was never strong enough to do it. I'm glad there had to be something in me that kept holding me back because there were times where I had perfect opportunities. Like, but I'm glad I didn't. I
was,
looked back, it was a little selfish.
was this uh, before your daughter was married?
Uh, Actually, she's not married now. She's not married. She
Okay.
has a
Okay.
partner, but they're like,
Oh, gotcha.
but no, she was actually in a different relationship and he broke it off the fall She was supposed to get married that year.
Okay.
I would have missed her wedding if she would have got married. Like, I think in some way it was things like that somewhere in my brain telling me, I I hope I there was something in me, but I did. I'm so glad I didn't, because I know I'm not a burden. I just have a difficult health. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. And you have this beautiful granddaughter.
I
And that's why my
I
question was tweaked a little bit.
I, I would have missed that.
Exactly. Exactly. Not like you knew it was coming at the
No,
time because it was before that, but
the
I feel
day of
like you
the
would have been so mad at yourself for missing out on. You are such a good grandma. Nana, whatever you go by. I forgot. What do you go by?
I'm a Nini.
You're a Nini. You know, when I found out my daughter was pregnant, I wrote down a list because I was like, I'm not gonna be a grandma. That's boring. In my family, everybody was grandma and their
Yep,
name,
yep,
grandpa and their name,
yep.
and I
Same.
was like, that's boring.
My Nini comes from a nickname. Um, I had Nia. Like, I babysat this little girl and she called me Nia. Um, my friends are the one that my friend Mandy, I was best friends with her sister all through high school, maid of honor. She's the one that gave me the idea for Nini. And I love it. It fits my name. It goes with my name. Like,
I think it suits you so well.
yeah.
It,
Yesterday I wasn't feeling like the greatest grandma. The little
why?
because I was not like this with my children. I just need to stress that first. She fell and she hit her top lip on her teeth, and it kind of bled. Last week on my birthday, she fell and got a big old lump on her head. Like, it's typical toddler stuff, but I felt so bad. Like, I even told my daughter, I'm like, you're not going to let me watch her anymore because she keeps getting hurt. Like, I was like, today I'm fine. But yesterday it was like, oh my gosh, she keeps getting hurt. And she's like, Mom, she's a toddler.
Exactly. Exactly. Like my daughter was FaceTiming me yesterday, showing me the millions of tiny little bruises all over my grandson's legs. And
I,
she's like, he runs into everything. He falls on everything. Everyone's going to think I'm doing something to him. And I'm like, no, they're not. It's
that's,
obvious. Like, you can see all the dots of running into things. He takes after
yeah.
me, apparently.
Well, she takes after me because I'm a big klutz. Like, but it just like me, I was that softball mom that sat on the bench when Amanda was playing, even as like a first and second grader. I'm like, get up, shake it off. You're good. It's just dirt. Rub some dirt in it. Like, it's fine. You'll be fine.
I
With
think
her,
you would have been
it's
appalled
totally
to the
different.
kind of mom I was.
I literally would tell her to rub dirt in it, like in a boo boo. When if she slid in and it like tore up. Are you there?
Yeah, can you see me?
I lost you.
Can you see me?
Nope.
Hello?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Keep going because I don't know what's going on.
That's okay. Oh, well, it's just us. But back to the depression, like, I I feel I want one thing I do want to say about depression. If you can't talk to any family member, talk to your doctor. At least tell them so they can give you something to help you. Because I was too even scared to talk to my doctor. And I had a big breakthrough just a month ago at the doctor's. I actually told them. And my husband was with me on big appointments. He goes with me. And my daughter works at my doctor's office. So she happened to be in there. She came in. And I said, I need something. Because as you know, and as Danny knows, it's been about 2, 3 weeks ago. I really was sinking hard. Like, tears were easy to come. Like, I could cry at everything. I was getting upset at silly things. Like, and then there were times I would just cry for no reason. like, and not know why.
Do you feel like there was anything in particular that triggered?
I'm kind of wondering if it had to do, like, you know, at one point I can't figure it out, but then I look back and I'm like, okay, my psoriasis, the psoriatic arthritis was flaring. It seemed to be pushing the RA to flare, like it was having a domino effect, because there really wasn't, I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was the anniversary of my brother's death, or it was the anniversaries of my mom, or the combination of all three of their anniversaries are within 2 weeks of each other. And I don't know. I remember when my mom and dad passed, the first year was, especially with my mom, I don't even remember anything from that. I was just zone blinders. I don't remember anything we did that year. And so I don't know if it's the second year for my brother. And so I'm kind of coming out of that blinding period, that first year of death after somebody, because I was very close to my brother and I've really been missing him more this year. And I think it's because of Bentley. She's walking. Like,
You wish he was here for it.
I wish,
You want him here for everything.
I wish he was here so he could see that his sister can fight through it, and so can he. Now, my brother did not unalive himself. He had a massive heart attack. But I think in some ways he was fighting depression as well. And I don't want to divulge, because it's a podcast. I don't want to divulge too much about his personal stuff. But I feel like he was facing a lot of hurdles, and I feel like he was depressed and stressed, and his heart just gave out. And it
Is
just,
he was he younger or older than you?
he was older.
Okay.
So I'm youngest of four, and the brother that's closest to age of me is 9 years, and then Curtis was 12 years, and then Melvin J's 19 years. No, Curtis was 16 years. Melvin J was 19 years, almost 19 years older than me. So there's
Okay.
a big difference in but my but Curtis was, I'm close to my brothers, but I was super close with him. Like, and I've told you stories, and but I wish he could see that I wish he would have let me help him. And I think that's why I want to share my story, is because maybe somebody like him will hear it and will know they're not alone. And maybe it will give them the strength to keep fighting, because I'm really glad I kept fighting. Not only for my granddaughter, for my kids, for my husband. I wouldn't have met you if I wouldn't have kept fighting. I would have never met you or our Spoonie sisters and our Spoonie brothers. I would have never met them. And that makes me sad that I almost missed out on that. And it
You
makes
had a
that,
whole community of people that
and
understand you.
at that moment, and if anything that the pandemic did, it was saved me. My husband saved me. But the pandemic gave us that chance to get away. Not, we were very fortunate that we were able to do that. And I know we were privileged to be able to do that. But I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that. And if it wasn't for my husband loving me unconditionally.
He loves you so much, and you are such a big priority in his life. And it's obvious to everyone around you.
My husband's my champion. He's my hero. Like, there's only one other person that's my hero besides him, is my dad. My husband has so many similarities to my father. And even though my father's gone, I kind of feel I still have a piece of him because my parents, oh my gosh, my parents loved my husband. Just a funny to break the tears. My mom, I would call my mom when we first were married, and I would say, oh my gosh, Rick and I, when you're complaining because you got in an argument. And my mom, I've always been a mama's girl and a daddy's girl, but my mom would go, well, what did you do wrong? His side.
That is hilarious.
I'm like, seriously, mom? Are you serious?
I can't stop laughing. I'm sorry.
No, I told the story because I needed to laugh because I don't want the tears to come. But I truly believe he saved me, and I'm so glad to be here. And I know it's hard. To any listener out there, I know it's hard. And I know it's tough. But you have to remember you're never alone in this. There are people out here willing to fight for you and help you and hold your hand. I mean, you and Danny was giving me phone calls every day on her banana or her phone or a tape measure. Like,
I love when she does
I
that.
love her videos.
Or
Like,
a level. She'll use a level. I love
yeah,
that.
oh, yes, yeah. She comes up with some cool phones.
I love it.
But, and you texting me, you, it just, it helped me through some of the darkest moments during that last bout. And now I'm on something. I did get an antidepressant. I feel it's starting to work. I don't feel so depressed. I feel a little lighter. I feel like I can think. I don't know. Are you on anything or have you taken an antidepressant ever?
Oh gosh, I've tried just about every one of them. I am currently on Prestique. I was on it about 10 years ago when it was fairly new, but it was so stinking expensive. The copay at the time, I think it was like $60. And we had littles, you know? And so I fooled myself into thinking that I was okay and took myself off of it. And I went back on it in 2017 when I was diagnosed with the palmar plantar pustulosis psoriasis. What a mouthful. But the Otezla that they put me on for the psoriasis, one of the side effects is depression. And so automatically I was like, you know what? I'm not even taking chances of going really south again. And so I talked to my doctor and we
Are
got
you
me
there?
back on the Prestige. And it's worked really good for me. And the copay is so much less now. It's wonderful.
I I just feel like I can think better. Like that's something I've noticed, and I don't know if it's the medicine or I'm just coming out of it, but I feel like I can think through things a little better than I was.
Is this the first time you've been on an antidepressant? Okay.
Well, Butrin,
Okay. Yeah, I've been on that one too.
yeah,
I've tried a lot of them. Some of them I just didn't like the side effects. There were a few
yeah,
that I gained so much weight on them. I
yeah.
just gained so much weight. And then there
Which
were some I was so energetic I couldn't sleep.
oh
But
yeah,
everybody's different, and what's going to work for you might not work for me, and what works for
yep,
me might not work for Sally. I mean, you just never know.
exactly. But there's always been this stigma towards antidepressant, towards mental health in general, where even and I look back and my mom had it. I can guarantee my mom had to because of um sorry, something came through. I just looking back, I can see the signs now. I mean, I was young. Like I didn't know what the signs were. But she never talked about it with anybody. I guarantee she never talked about it with anybody because it was such a bad word, you
Oh
know.
yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, you and I are close in age, and I think the time where we were probably in junior high, high school, that age time,
Yep.
it it was not talked about a lot, and it was kind of frowned upon.
Yep.
And it was somebody that's messed up has depression and thinks bad thoughts. And there was just such a stigma with it. And now it's, well, first of all, it's so big. It's so prevalent in the world, and people are
Yep.
finally talking about it. And I think I can't stress enough, and I feel like you're going to agree, that you need to find what works for you, but the biggest thing is you got to speak up.
Yep.
You've got to voice that you are not in a good place, and hopefully you're in a household and around people that aren't making you feel,
Like you're
oh,
crazy.
yeah, like you're crazy, or like you shouldn't be unwell.
Yep.
Hopefully you're in a situation to where you feel comfortable speaking up and saying, "Look, I'm not doing so well. Like I need to see a doctor. Maybe I need some counseling, but I need something, and right now I need to tell you that I am not okay and that we need
Just
to
to
figure out
vocalize it.
something."
Are you there? You paused.
I am here. I don't know what's wrong with this stupid video. So as long as they're getting our audio, great.
Are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, you paused, so I missed the last bit.
Yeah, I wonder if having the video on screws something up with us. I don't know.
The,
But I know that you and I both are in unique locations for Wi-Fi too.
well, and it has been so windy here. I'm not like, we have the Starlink, but so we get good service, but when it's really windy, it just messes things up.
Well, and we get pretty good service too, but when I woke up this morning, so we had a storm start up last night when we were going to bed. In fact, it woke up my husband because we had like extreme thunder and lightning, like shaking our house,
Oh yeah,
and
I
it
don't
woke
like.
him up. So this morning when I woke up, it was doing it again and it was raining. And so I was kind of freaking out and I was like, oh, great. I'm supposed to talk with Linnea today. I don't want a bunch of crazy background noises going on. So I was a little worried about that, but it stopped and now it's just kind of overcast and ugly.
It's very windy here. Like, but I don't want people to think they're crazy. I have family members that I will never discuss this with because that's their mentality. And that's okay. If they want to think that, that's fine. But that just means I'm not going to talk to them. I'm going to find people I can talk to. Even that's if it's outside. I'm lucky enough that I have a good family. I have a good home life. And that was something when I was in that deep depression. I felt guilty because I shouldn't be depressed because I have a good marriage. I have kids that are good kids, that are self sufficient adults. I have great friends. I felt guilty for being depressed because I did have a good life.
But
And
even the best person, even someone we look up to so much can have it. And I'll tell
yeah,
you, like, I think the first time it really occurred to me was in high school, even though it wasn't talked about. I think it was actually right after high school we found out about a couple of people that committed suicide. And it could be the baseball star, the person that everyone idolizes in school. And what you don't realize is there's something off in their brain and their thinking, and it's not their fault. They could have
no,
the best home life, they could have the
yeah,
best career. It doesn't matter.
I,
It's going to affect anyone, anywhere, anytime.
yep. And I want people to know that it's okay if you feel like this and your world in your eyes is perfect and you shouldn't feel like, has nothing to do with that. It has to do with your chemistry. It has to do with what's on the inside of you. Now, I'm not saying that it's your fault that you have it. It's just the way you're made. And it's nobody's fault. It just happens. And sometimes, no matter how hard, because when I worked, everybody's like, if I had a bad day where I wasn't like, maybe I wasn't feeling good when I was working and I wasn't smiling, they're like, well, you're always smiling. You're always happy. So I heard that from the time from school till I was quit my job. Like I always heard, well, you're always happy, you're always smiling. So I felt like I had to keep that going even on the inside when I was dying. Like,
And that's a lot of pressure.
and I don't think you, if somebody is a smiley, happy person all the time and one day they don't, that's when you need to go, are you okay? Are you okay? Don't point out, well, you're always happy. What's wrong? Why are you not smiling? Like, and I think that actually affected me a lot. And I actually kind of backed off of some people because some of them were friends. I'm
And you
like,
don't need to be guilted.
you're not going to get me. So I'm backing off.
Yeah, and the last thing you need is someone in your life that is making you feel guilty. And
Exactly.
I want to also add in too, and I'm sorry I keep interrupting
Oh,
you,
no.
but there
I,
are some people that are so against medication.
yes,
And,
I
you know,
was.
I had a brother that I don't think he even realized that he was dealing with depression.
Yeah.
But it's almost like they get in this big manly mindset
Yep.
of, well, I'm a big strong man, I should be able to handle it. And and so in their minds, like you just handle it. You handle
Yep.
it or get rid of yourself.
Yep.
And that's so not healthy. Like
It's not a
if
world that I want to live in.
if
Like,
you need medication, it's okay. If you need talk therapy, it's okay. I mean, whatever you need,
yep.
it's okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm going to stop interrupting you now.
No, you're good. You're good. No, I agree. I think in our society we have made men feel like they can't have emotions. And I mean, I have a brother that I he we don't talk feelings. We don't discuss feelings. We don't discuss my diseases. And I just have learned I just I have to put up a wall. I have to put up a barrier so it doesn't affect me anymore. Because that will weigh on you. When somebody you should support you isn't supporting you like you feel like you need to be, I put up a wall. It doesn't mean I don't still love them. They're my family. I will always love them. They call me right now while we're on here. Absolutely, I will say I need to go and I will pick up their phone call. But I just protect myself in other ways. And I think we do that in like with our like I did that with my friends. We're no longer friends. But I have found I found my people. I found I found the people that you and Danny were kind of the first time I've ever said to my friends, "Hey, I'm in a depressive like I'm not doing good. Like I'm and I did it in my own way, but that's what I was doing. And that's a big step for me. And when we were talking last week and we were talking, you know, I really would have never thought we would be talking about this on a podcast. But when you brought it up, I'm like, if I don't, who am I hurting by not talking about it? Who needs to hear what I have to say and know they're not alone in this world? You can find me, you put on our links. You can, if you're listening and you just need somebody to hear you and you don't want any advice, you just need to vent to someone. Hey, my DMs are always open on my social media accounts because of that reason. I will look at every single DM I get because I don't want to miss somebody that needs to know they're not alone. Even if that's all they need to hear, please tell me I'm not alone in this world. Okay, I will absolutely tell you what can I do to help you because I felt like I was alone and I don't want anybody to feel like that ever again.
Never.
I I I felt it for too long. I finally feel like I'm not alone in this world. Even though I wasn't alone. I had a husband, I have beautiful kids, I have a beautiful granddaughter. I have in-laws that are like any person would die to have my mother-in-law. Like when people complain about their mother-in-laws, yeah, I can't complain. I'm sorry. Mine, no,
Neither can I.
no,
My mother-in-law is like the kind of person you look up to.
exactly. And she raised my husband on her own. I have so much to be grateful for her. I should honor her. She created a man that has a, been our, is our, I can't even think of the word I'm trying to, like,
He's your
we
rock for
just,
sure.
you know what I mean? Like, he's the head of the household. He takes care of us. She did a great job. I would never, I love my mother in law.
He's your rock. He is your solid rock.
And I wish everybody, I had a friend once say, can we clone him? Or does he have a brother? I'm like, he's just got 3 sisters. We're both,
Well, I am so thankful that you have him. I mean, you have a one of a kind husband and a one of a kind family, and I think that's so important.
yes.
And not everybody has that, and that's okay. If you don't have that, go find your people.
Yep. You find your friends, you find your family, you choose your family. Find your chosen family because we all
Absolutely.
deserve that.
Absolutely. Well, is there anything that we haven't said that you want to leave listeners with?
Well, I will say I'm in a great spot. I have bad days. We all have bad days, and that's okay. And
Absolutely.
and I'm thankful for you. That's all
I'm
I can.
thankful for you, sweetheart.
So, yep, I'm good.
I
So,
love you to
so
pieces.
glad you mentioned this because it's an important conversation, and I hope even if just one person listens to this and gets something out of it, then that's all I ask for.
And we have so many more topics that we want to bring up in the future. So, I don't know. I don't know if I need to add you as a guest host or if people just need to get used to listening to you. But
Maybe I should do my own podcast where it's just us 2 talking all time.
the Linnea and Jenny show.
Oh my god, that would be hilarious.
Do people really want inside our brains? I don't even know.
I don't know. I'm
It's
not
a
sure
scary
they
place.
really do. Or into our conversations that we have because we can be talking about one thing, talk something else, and go back to the original conversation seamlessly.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think sometimes we talk about 5 different things in a conversation, but it all makes sense.
Exactly. To us, it does.
Well, thank you so much, and
Oh, thanks
listeners,
for having me.
un yeah, until next time, don't forget your spoon. The information, opinions, and recommendations presented in this podcast are for general information only. Consult your own physician for any medical issues that you may be having. The information should not be taken as a replacement for medical, clinical, professional advice, diagnoses, or medical intervention. My Spoonie sisters and guests will not be held liable for any of the consequences of such action or inaction. Trigger warning. Some episodes may cover sensitive topics including, but not limited to, suicide, abuse, mental illness, and chronic disease. You are advised to refrain from listening if you are likely to be offended or adversely impacted by any of these topics. None of the guests or hosts will be responsible for your use of the information contained therein. Life is not merely to be alive, but to be well. Living a life with a chronic illness is best described with one word: unpredictable. Be Well's products are designed to make the unpredictable easier to deal with. Back when I was getting my infusions, I would have loved to have their adult zip hoodie. They even have one in pink. They also have everything from one-day pill holders to urgency buckets. So remember, they want to make your life a little easier. So be sure to check out Be Well.